An angel, a demon, a destroyer, a deceiver. He is called the Venom of God, the angel of death. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pantheon mythology and this is Samael. If you too want to be the angel of death, check out Pantheon Apparel, our clothing brand inspired by myths and legends from around the world. We ship worldwide and are rated excellent on Trustpilot, link in the description. There are angels who bring light, messengers who deliver guidance, and warriors who defend the heavens. And then there is Samael. With origins that stretch deep into Jewish mysticism, Samael is not like the others. He does not bring comfort, nor does he bring salvation. His purpose is heavier, his presence is darker. Some say he is an angel, others call him a demon. But the truth is far more complicated. He is the space between, a being of judgment, destruction, and mystery. His name means Venom of God or Poison of God, a fitting title for a figure who delivers both punishment and corruption in equal measure. Some say his venom is a necessary force, one that cleanses the wicked and enforces the will of the heavens. But others believe that Samael's poison lingers, that it spreads, infecting those he touches, leading them towards temptation, ruin, and ultimately, death. Is he a purifier or a corrupter, a force of order or of chaos? The answer is never clear. Throughout Talmudic and Kabbalistic texts, Samael's role shifts like a shadow in the dark. He is the accuser, standing before God and pointing out the sins of humanity. He is the destroyer, carrying out the sentence that no other angel dares to fulfill. And in some traditions, he is the tempter, the whisper in the dark, the unseen hand that nudges mortals toward their downfall, not in defiance of God's will, but as part of it. But where does he truly belong? Some place him near the heavenly throne, serving as an instrument of justice, unseen but ever present. Others say he lingers in the shadows, watching, waiting, bound to a duty that is both righteous and terrifying. His presence is also deeply tied to the Sitra Achra, meaning the other side. Not hell, not the underworld, but something else entirely. A realm beyond holiness, where disorder and impurity reign. It is a place that exists alongside creation, the reflection of everything sacred but stripped of its light. Samael is not its ruler, but is among its most feared figures, a being who walks between worlds, bridging the space between order and chaos, purity and ruin. Samael does not simply pass judgment, he delivers the sentence. But unlike others who bear his title, Samael's presence is not quiet, nor is it merciful. He does not guide souls. He takes them. Many texts suggest that he is the one who strikes down the living, acting as the force behind sudden death and divine punishment. Some claim that he carries a sword dripping with poison, that those who meet his blade do not simply die, but are marked by his venom, ensuring that their souls are beyond salvation. Others say that he does not need a weapon at all, that his mere presence is enough to drain the life force from those who stand before him. In some traditions, Azrael is also called the angel of death, but where Azrael is a silent guide ushering souls to their next existence, Samael is something far more terrifying. He does not wait for death to come, he brings it. If Azrael is the final escort, then Samael is the executioner. But there is something even more unsettling about him. Some believe that Samael takes more than just souls. He relishes in their destruction. Unlike Azrael, who performs his task in an act of necessity, Samael is often depicted as a force that revels in destruction. In some accounts, he is even said to consume the souls he takes, feeding off the essence of those he has claimed. Whether this is meant to be taken literally or as a symbolic warning is unknown, but the message is clear. Samael does not just bring death. He embodies it. His connection to death is not purely mechanical. Some believe that he does not just collect the dead, he ensures they deserve their fate. In some accounts, Samael is presented long before the final moment, whispering to mortals, leading them toward decisions that will seal their doom. A ruler who ignores mercy and wages war, a man who turns his back on salvation, a soul that falls too deeply into darkness. Did they choose their path? Or was Samael already there, guiding them toward destruction? Legends say that those who see his shadow rarely live to speak of it. He offers no solace, no mercy, only consequence. When Samael comes for you, there is no bargaining, no escape, no second chances. Because when Samael arrives, he does not come to warn, he comes to collect. Samael does not only bring death, he brings downfall. Some say he does not wait for souls to meet their end, but instead ensures they fall first. And no story illustrates this better than the first fall of all, Eden. The serpent that lured Eve to the forbidden fruit is often associated with Satan. But in early Jewish mysticism, the deceiver in the Garden of Eden was not an independent force of evil. It was Samael himself. Some suggest that the serpent was merely his instrument, a vessel through which he enacted his true purpose: to lead humanity away from innocence, to ensure their exile, and to introduce suffering into a world that had not yet known it. But why? Samael does not act in open rebellion. Instead, he enforces divine law, even when it leads to suffering. In this interpretation, the fall of humanity was not a tragic mistake but a necessary step in the divine order. Mankind was never meant to remain in paradise untouched by sin. If knowledge was meant to be gained, then who better to be the one to reveal it than the accuser, the judge, the one who ensures no soul remains innocent forever? Some sources take this even further, suggesting that Samael did not act alone. He had an ally. Long before Eve, it is said that Adam had another wife, Lilith. Unlike Eve, she refused to be subservient, fleeing the garden and rejecting her place beneath him. Cast out from paradise, she became something untamed, unbound, a force that refused to submit, and it is here that some believe she found Samael. Their connection is one of destruction and defiance. While Lilith represents the chaos that cannot be controlled, Samael is the judgment that ensures such chaos does not go unpunished. In some texts, the two are described as consorts, bound together in a union that mirrors the fall of mankind itself, one that exists outside divine purity, forever tied to the realm of darkness and exile. Even more unsettling are the accounts that claim their offspring still walk the earth. Some say that from their union came legions of demonic spirits, beings that continue to whisper to humanity, to lure them towards destruction just as Samael might have done in Eden. If true, then this corruption did not end with the first sin. It continues, unseen, shaping the world in ways that mortals may never fully understand. Before Satan became known as the ruler of hell, there was another who stood in the role of the Adversary, not as a force opposing God, but as one acting within divine law. In the earliest writings, Samael was the one called Satan, meaning the accuser. Unlike the Christian devil, who seeks to overthrow God's rule, Samael's function has always been to test, to challenge, to expose weakness, ensuring that no soul goes unjudged. This distinction is crucial. In later interpretations, Satan became the embodiment of rebellion, a fallen angel who sought to defy the heavens. But Samael's purpose was never about defiance. It was about consequence. If mankind's fall was inevitable, then it was Samael who ensured the path was taken. His voice whispered the first temptation, his influence led them to the moment of decision, his hand pushed them towards exile. And if that is true, then Samael did not betray divine will. He fulfilled it. Samael's nature has always been ambiguous, an angel to some, a destroyer to others. But over time, something changed. Where once he was seen as a divine enforcer, later interpretations cast him in a far darker light. In Gnostic writings, Samael takes on an even more sinister role. Here, he is not merely an angel of destruction. He is the demiurge, the blind and arrogant being who rules over the material world. To the Gnostics, the physical world is a prison, an illusion meant to trap the soul. And it is Samael, sometimes called Yaldabaoth, who maintains this false reality, believing himself to be the true God. His name, reinterpreted to mean blind God, reflects this deception. In this version of his story, Samael is no longer just a being of judgment. He is the reason mortals remain bound to suffering. The laws he enforces do not lead to salvation, but perpetuate an endless cycle of illusion, keeping humanity from ever escaping into enlightenment. But even within Jewish mysticism, his image continued to darken. The Zohar, one of the most influential Kabbalistic texts, presents him as both an angel of justice and a corrupter. He is still an enforcer of divine law, but his influence breeds impurity. Some passages describe his presence in the realm of darkness, where he presides over forces that challenge divine order, ensuring that judgment and temptation are forever intertwined. It is in these later interpretations that Samael becomes something far more complex, not just a feared angel, but a force teetering on the edge of damnation. Was he still serving divine law, or had he truly fallen? The more he was associated with corruption, temptation, and deception, the more his name became synonymous with something terrifying. Once, Samael was the hand that enforced judgment. Now, he had become the shadow that consumed it. Samael's presence did not fade with ancient texts. He continues to be invoked, feared, and reinterpreted in modern esoteric traditions, not as a simple villain, but as a force of power, destruction, and transformation. In occult mysticism, Samael is sometimes called upon as a being of raw power and severe judgment. His connection to death, punishment, and purification make him a significant figure in ritual practices involving banishment, breaking limitations, and confronting one's shadow. In some interpretations, he is not a demon to be feared, but a force that strips away illusion, revealing harsh but necessary truths. In Luciferian traditions, Samael is viewed as a liberator rather than a malevolent being. Some see him as a destroyer of blind faith, one who forces mortals to confront their nature rather than accept imposed divine law. Others call upon his association with severity and discipline, believing that through hardship one may gain strength and wisdom. In Kabbalistic mysticism, Samael is sometimes linked to the Qlipot, the dark counterpart to the divine Sephirot. While the Sephirot represent the ordered aspects of divine energy, the Qlipot are said to embody the chaotic forces that exist outside divine holiness. Samael's presence in this sphere is not inherently evil, rather, he is the force that tests, purifies, and destroys that which is weak. However, his name is also invoked in darker rituals, where he is treated as a bringer of misfortune, chaos, or forbidden knowledge. Some believe that calling upon Samael improperly can lead to disastrous consequences, as his energy is not one of mercy, but one of judgment. This is why, in some traditions, he is both feared and respected, a figure who can grant power, but demands a price. What is certain is that Samael's role has never been forgotten. He's not merely a relic of ancient texts, but a force that continues to shape esoteric thought and occult practices today. Some seek his guidance, others fear his wrath. But whether called upon for power, wisdom, or destruction, his name still carries weight. Samael is destruction and judgment, chaos and order, being feared across centuries, invoked in whispers, condemned in scripture, and revered in secret. He is the shadow that looms over every transgression, the force that ensures no sin goes unnoticed, no soul goes untested. Some call him an angel, a necessary hand of divine will. Others say he is the greatest deceiver, a force of corruption lurking beneath every fall. But perhaps the distinction was never meant to be clear. So, is Samael a servant of God, or its greatest enemy? The line between angel and demon is thin. Perhaps it never existed at all.